I had a rethink on what I talked to you about just a minute ago. It does weigh in on one thing. It matters in one respect.
Okay. Yes.
Oops. Yeah, is everybody ready? Okay. Alex, I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead and let everybody in. And we'll get started. Everybody's in? Okay. All right, council, we ready? Matt, Sue Ellen, you guys good? Okay, we're going to call to order the Kensington Town Council meeting for Wednesday, June 12th, 2024. First item on the agenda is to stand and give the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. This is an opportunity to a moment of silence to bring up anyone who we should be thinking about. I will start the David Gregg's family. Mr. Gregg passed away. He was our longtime tree expert, and he has a statue in the Reinhardt Park, and he passed away. How old was he?
He was 94 years old.
94.
Passed away on June 1st.
Okay. And Matt and Jason went up to his funeral today. I also want to keep in our thoughts and prayers Carol Anderson, who lives in the apartments. She was attacked by a dog in Warner Mansion Park over the last week, and she had to spend a couple of days in the hospital. It was so bad. So she has gone home to be with her daughter for a while while she recovers. So please keep her in your thoughts and prayers. Anyone else? No? Okay, we could just bow our heads for a moment. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. Council, you were sent the minutes. I don't recall seeing any comments or corrections. So unless you have one, I will entertain a motion to approve.
I move that we accept the minutes from the town council meeting of May 10th.
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, what's that?
I thought he was going to say something.
No.
Oh, okay. All right, so we're gonna move down to the first item on the agenda, which is the certification.
Yes, it is special.
Oh, I thought it was,
Two separate motions.
oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's a special council meeting. Yes, I'm sorry. I didn't see
So
that.
we
Yeah,
did the 10th.
so can I get a also a motion to approve the May 23rd council meeting minutes?
I move that we approve the May 23rd, 2024 special meeting council.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, now we'll move down to number one, which is the certification of the June 3rd town elections. Matt?
For council, town posted as of June 3rd, 2024. The Board of Supervisors of Elections called the election in favor of Mayor Berman, Councilmember Engel, and Councilmember Lichter, because there was no competition in either office.
Okay. Congratulations to all council members. We will, the council or the staff will make an appointment for me to go up to Rockville to get re-sworn in, and then, after I do that, I can swear you two in. We definitely want to do it before the, July meeting.
Yes.
So I'll let you know when that's been done, and then, we can do it anytime that you guys are available.
Okay.
Okay, all right, okay, does anybody have any questions regarding number one? Okay, so we'll move on to number two, which is the 10335 Kensington Parkway sign variance. And this is a continued discussion from our previous meeting in May. Yeah,
For council, at the May meeting, we continued the sign variance request from Compass Art Center at 10335 Kensington Parkway. To this meeting, we wanted an opportunity to clarify some questions with the town attorney. Town Attorney Ferguson is with us. Mr. Kessler is also with us on Zoom. And we'd like to open it up to him, just to kind of verify again what he's requesting. Specifically is with regards to the monument sign in the front plane of the property. The issue is that the paneling is being changed, which brings it into compliance with our code, which requires it to be a certain height. The monument sign is listed at 6 feet 4 inches, and our code does not allow a monument sign greater than 6 feet. So the variance is to allow the sign to maintain and to allow for the panels to be exchanged out for the new tenants of the Compass Art Center.
okay, could you refresh to everyone what our concerns were and questions?
So the council was looking at possibly providing a waiver as opposed to a variance. Staff wanted to clarify that with the town attorney. Our concerns were that waivers are not necessarily what we give. We give variances. We want it to be, but and then there was some questions about if the variance was granted towards Compass Art Center, what would be the appropriate avenue to accept the variance under, based on the what the council approves the variance on. What's the hardship? What is the determining factor for issuing a variance for this location and sign? And the staff report is in your documents. So.
Well, and I think you had some concern about waivers, is that correct?
A variance. A variance is a waiver.
Okay, I
And,
thought I heard you, it was
yeah.
something different.
No, and one of the things you have to consider here is that this is a zoning issue. And you derive this authority because the state allows you to have some zoning authority in the regional district. But you have to adopt a specific variance procedure and follow it if you're going to give an exception or a waiver, in essence,
Okay.
to what the statutory requirements are. And you need to follow that, or then you otherwise the county takes that back over. They have all the other zoning. You're allowed to exercise this power in some areas, signs, fences, setbacks, but you have to follow the kind of rules that they follow too. So that's why you have to look at the variance requirements.
I think the last meeting, I don't know if Glenn Kessler has any clarification on the cost of the new sign.
Yeah, Mr. Kessler was supposed to provide an estimate to remove the existing sign and to put up a new monument sign. We have not received anything from Mr. Kessler, so I don't know if he's gotten a price for that or not, so.
Yes, I reached out to Steve over at the sign shop. He has not provided me that in writing, but he did let me know that it would be quite costly. He looked at the unit and found that there is rebar that runs from the top all the way through to the concrete base. It would be a dramatic undertaking to excavate the entire unit. There is electricity running in there that would have to be dealt with. He estimated it at approximately $5,000 to $10,000. That would be a very large number so far as I'm concerned with a new startup business.
And Glenn, if you had to remove the current sign and then try to put back a sign that met the operational needs that you're looking at of having multiple tenants on it, what would be the cost? Is that 5 to 10 for just removing the sign? Or is that 5 to 10 removing and the cost of a replacement sign?
Yeah, the removal would be the 5 to 10, and then there would be an additional cost for a new monument sign to be put up, which would bring it much closer to 10 or over.
So Ellen, did you find anything in our variance procedures to warrant this as a hardship?
Well, the first thing you have to look at is whether the strict application of the town's regulations would result in an unusual practical difficulty to or hardship upon the owner. So you could look at this based upon what I see in your record so far and what's just been said, that this is a new owner. The sign has been there for many years. And the amount of difference is 4 inches, which is a fairly de minimis amount. That combination with the fact that there are a number of subtenants in essence that have to be in this grouping to be able to show that they're there, and you're putting all of that there instead of trying to put it up in other ways. It's an economical way of showing people what's in the building, and you'll want to do that. You could say that your strict application would result in unusual difficulty because it's a sign that's been there for a long time. And the only reason that he would be having to change it is because it's not quite big enough to advertise all of the persons that are going to be there offering their product. So that is a difficulty, and it's unusual because of his situation. It's not just one tenant that he's got. There are 2 tenants. He's got a number of them, and he's trying to support a new type of business that supports the arts. So that's number one. This is the minimum reasonably necessary. It's only 4 inches out of 6 feet, and it's been there for a long time. So there's no added burden on the neighborhood to just put in different information. And then can it be granted without substantial impairment of the article? You have to look at the size, shape, color, and design of the sign. It's been there for a long time, but will be not changing particularly. Compatibility with the surrounding property. Has been compatible with that property for a long time. And it's going to be a nice looking sign. It's not, one of the things I think that was part of the concern from before is signs that are run down and not attractive.
Well, and this one sadly has had a long tradition of looking bad because panels are missing. So that doesn't help, the sign in its attractiveness. It detracts from the sign.
No,
So-
and in this way, there's requiring that this business owner pay that kind of money which is a hardship to do that when in fact he has a workable sign there. To require that kind of payment to avoid using 4 inches of space, which is not a new imposition on the neighborhood. It's been there for a long time, but otherwise the sign's going to look a whole lot better. It's going to look like a new sign.
Mhm.
I mean, that reasoning,
That would allow you to, if you decided that in fact the facts support that the narrative that I just gave you, you could decide that a variance was appropriate.
right? I was gonna say that reasoning sounds persuasive to me and is along the lines of where our conversation went last time, but I do want to point out, last time we discussed, the owner hasn't actually changed. It's my understanding the tenant has changed, and so
Both have changed.
both
Both have
changed.
changed.
Okay.
Ownership changed like
Yeah.
3 years ago.
Oh, it just never
They,
went into effect at that
The
point.
tenants
Okay.
remain the same, and the way code enforcement works is,
It's when somebody applies
For-
for,
I mean, it's complaint based, or when something happens, I mean, we do see things, but we're not overly
Right.
going out and active enforcement.
What determines the height? I was just curious because it's like It could be like 4 inches of mulch around it, right? Like,
Yeah.
how do you actually determine the height
So
of the
the
sign?
base of the sign, if you can see it in the staff packet, is an intricate part of the sign. So by the county definition within the zoning regulations, it's part of the height of the sign. Mr. Kessler originally, we talked about, maybe grading or something, but it didn't work out.
Hmm.
So really the only option was to come before the council for a variance on this sign. Which,
Okay.
But in a hypothetical, if they were to raise a flower bed with landscaping stone and then, essentially eliminate the view of the base, would it be in compliance? No,
it depends on what it looked like. I mean, I'll be honest, and Mr. Kessler knows this. What was done previously did not
oh, I know,
pass what our expectation
Yeah.
was, so I don't want to say.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
problem of just masking.
Yeah.
The base doesn't take away the base.
Okay.
So, and you generally follow what the county does here, so we're not having conflicting.
Yep.
Directions between the town and the county.
And Matt, when the town measured, it looks like it measured from the street
Mhm.
corner. There's also a bit of grade slope
Mhm.
in the property. Did you happen to measure from the?
I'd have to go back and
These
look.
walls?
I think we measured from the.
Well, yeah,
the
there's
nearest
the
one.
flowers.
Yeah,
Are you implying it should have been averaged?
No, well, I'm just saying, I wonder if it's at the, call it eastern edge of it, if it's even less out of compliance. If this looks like this is the 76 inches. Here.
Is the metal framing in fairly good shape? It's hard to, okay,
it's okay.
it's okay.
The
Yeah.
council knows.
It
Go
is,
ahead,
in-
Mr. Kessler.
yes, it's in decency, and I talked to Steve, and he said we would be able to hammer it back into perfect condition and paint it white, and it would look very similar in aesthetic to the building, which is white, and would look very tasteful with new signs and
Oh, so you're entertaining painting the brown metal? Is that correct?
if that would be okay with the council, yes, I would love to have it look cleaner and really match the building aesthetic.
Okay, I like that
Yeah,
idea.
I'd like to find a way to grant the variance. Um, you know, painting it would be a nice variant condition. Obviously, if it does get pulled down, it doesn't get replaced with 76 inches, it gets replaced with 72 inches. I don't know if that needs to be put into the condition or if that would just trigger a new request.
I mean, if they remove the sign, it definitely needs to come in compliance at that point.
Or you have to
Yeah.
get a variance, one or the other.
Yeah,
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
so.
And then
Be in the same place.
I mean, I'm happy to go with the approach that our attorney laid out as the basis for the variance. I don't know if it makes it any simpler or causes more problems to say, look, the code is written in terms of feet. So it's 6 feet. It doesn't say 72 inches. If it said 72 inches, 73 would be out of compliance. But since it says 6 feet, the relevant unit is feet. And
Rounding
4
down.
inches, 4 inches rounds down to
So
6 feet. So, and that would avoid any. Sorry.
creative.
I don't know what you think of that approach, is just eliminating the need for a variance. It's in compliance because it's 6 feet.
4 inches.
Well, rounded down.
It's not how the county would measure the sign,
That's.
and we have to follow the
Okay,
county.
then let's go with this other approach.
But points for creative thinking.
Yes.
That's what I paid for.
I have a quick question. Did we provide this or did Mr. Kessler?
Mr. Kessler provided that,
So-
so, the compass art is larger, you can kind
Right.
of tell, so that would be at the top,
Okay,
and then the panels would be the replacement panels.
okay, but are we repeating, so we have the gallery, the atelier, the studios in the center. And then I assume one of your compasses may come out if you rent to someone else since, or this is it, this is how it's gonna.
We have some other entities that would want representation, Stone Branch School of Art and
Uh-huh.
Young Masters School of Art.
Yep.
We also have a Kensington Art Therapy
The
that
art-
would want
okay.
signage.
No, I think it'll look lovely. My only thing would be that there has to be a panel in each one. No more empty panels.
I am in full agreement with you on that. Yes, let's make it look beautiful and tasteful. We are, after all, in the business of aesthetics. We want something that looks good.
This is very true.
This sign would also not allow internal illumination because of the way the panels are working, but Mr. Kessler could put external illumination, from the outside of the sign for night.
So the current setup for the lights will not be the way it's going to be?
So the internal lights would be what we have tried to get rid of,
Okay,
which is one of the reasons why the sign is to be taken down based on the code. So if he wants illumination, he can do it on the exterior side, doesn't require a variance or anything special from us. It could just be on the exterior. The property has been approved for the wall sign that you can see up
Yes,
there.
that's
It
lit.
has been approved for the Compass Art Center, for the building, so they do have signage available on the facade of the buildings.
Okay, so Mr. Kessler, you're aware that we're not gonna let you use the current electrical setup right now to illuminate?
I am aware of that. I'm not seeking that. Thank you.
Okay, okay. Okay. All right, any other questions from the council?
Mm-mm.
Does anyone in the audience have a question? If you do, you have to come up to the podium and give your name. No? Okay. Anyone online? I don't see any hands. Okay, all right, well, can we have a motion?
Sure, I move that we approve the variance for 10,400 for 10,335 Kensington Parkway, the Compass Arts Center.
With the condition of.
With the condition, Mr. Kessler, that all parts of the metal housing are to be painted white.
And that panels will be in
Oh,
every.
and that
Okay.
every panel slot must be full at all times.
For the
Music
reasons,
to my ears. Thank you. Yes. Thank you.
For the reasons previously discussed.
Great, all right, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Kessler.
Thank you all.
Forward to a
Darling,
beautiful sign.
onward. Thank you, Kensington. Bye.
All right, thank you. Okay, so let's move on down to number 3, the Ferndale Street, 3401 Ferndale Street fence variance hearing.
Council, before you this evening is a variance from 3401 Ferndale Street for a fence. The council will be considering to allow a fence greater than 6 feet in height in the front plane of the property. In the council packets, what we did is we provided a sketch of a precedent we've done in the community on the bus property at Baltimore and Connecticut Avenue that highlights what we've done previously, similar lots. The issue here is that Mr. Boyer's lot is a corner lot, so he technically has multiple front yards. Where he's running into issue is that we only allow 4-foot fences in the front plane of the property. He would like to put a 6-foot privacy fence on what would still be classified as the front plane, although realistically it's a side yard. So in the council packet, you'll see what we did with the bus property back in 2018, where we required them or asked them to taper it down. Staff is recommending that we do something very similar in this situation. The lot is quite large, even for a corner lot in Kensington. And at least and we'll bring Mr. Boyer up. But on the Manakee side, I believe it is, Manakee side, there's some pretty good distance between the road and the adjacent neighbor.
Is the red the 6-foot?
The red is where we would not allow anything higher than a 6-foot fence. And
Okay,
the green is where we would require a 4-foot fence using our precedent on previous corner lots.
okay.
We also received a formal request from Mr. Boyer, and we also received some support from his adjacent neighbors, which I forgot to print out. I'm sorry, but I can.
Okay. And the adjacent neighbors are in this picture that we have next door,
Correct.
behind, I
The
mean, within the little island of.
property on Ferndale Street sent a letter of support and 10-419 Manakee.
Okay,
You can do 6 feet there and 4 feet there. And Mr. Boyer, if you don't mind coming I do have one clarification.
I have a
For you.
question. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, go for it.
So, when we received the formal variance application, for the fence, it just shows it shows the perimeter.
Right,
So why staff did this for council is we weren't entirely sure where the fence location was based on the proposal. So if you want to clarify that with the council, and then they can kind of direct where.
So Matt, what I don't understand is on this drawing, why does the red cut in to touch the house on the two sides?
So that is class, and I know the public can say this, but I'm more than happy to explain.
do we have that on, can you bring that
Bring
up
up
on
the
the
staff
TV?
report.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's classified as a front plane.
Yes,
That's classified as a front plane, and that's classified. So he basically has 3 front yards.
right.
So what we've done previously is, this is the main frontage.
Mhm.
So what we did with the bus property on Washington Street in 2018 is we said, okay, we'll allow you to have a 6-foot fence on we would classify as a side yard, and then taper down once it gets past that
That
front plane.
So the red connecting to the house is just indicating where the plane is.
Yeah, so what.
Because it looked like there was gonna be like 2 fences.
So if we follow what we've done previously, is staff is recommending that, a fence can be located at 6 feet within the red area, and any fence in the green area should be tapered down to 4 feet.
But there would not be fence here or here.
So if they ran the fence past this property line, past that, it has to be 4 feet, or they could run it 6 feet into the structure.
To the plane.
Doesn't make sense.
To the
And that is what
front
he's.
Oh, okay.
We'll pass that down.
So he's proposing bringing a 6-foot all the way to the driveway.
Mhm. What we're saying you get up for,
We're
So-
saying two.
or it had to be for, it had
off
to be for,
this.
yeah.
You know,
Okay,
And the staff report shows what we did with the bus property, where we had them taper it once they got a certain plane.
yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
And there's no
Okay.
concern in this
That's-
proposal about the
We'll share that.
3 foot within 15
Um,
foot of the intersection.
No,
Yes,
it's
this
too
is all
far away,
affected.
yeah.
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 Yeah, so that, where the intersection.
Can you share that?
Councilmember Bartram for the public is where
That's
Manatee
what
meets
I'll say.
Ferndale, there's a requirement for
Cover
distance of
question.
fence for sightline purposes. It wouldn't apply in this case. It's too far away, it's more than 15 feet away if they were to bring the fence that far out in the green area at 4 feet.
And you'll see as it's coming around, he's proposing a fence more or less behind the housing structure, so nothing out on that corner. anyways.
Okay. Great. Got it. Okay.
So then to Councilman Engel's point, it's really the, call it northeast corner that is the question.
That little section.
Yeah.
Can you pass that back?
Yep. And it looks like from your drawing that you're already planning to taper at least part of it to 4 feet.
Yes,
the
we're planning
front.
on tapering it down to 4 feet, as it runs into the house.
So Zach, it would be 6 feet all along Manakee from your northernmost corner
Yes.
all the way to your driveway.
That's the hope, yeah.
And then
Yeah.
4 feet from the
Taper it down.
driveway up to the house.
Yeah, parallel to the driveway would be 4 feet.
And so staff is suggesting that it start tapering to 4.
Correct, where the
When it
red
turns
meets
the
the
corner.
green. So obviously, staff is in support of the fence.
Mhm.
What we are recommending is that we have precedence for a similar lot, corner lot,
Mhm.
that we follow that precedent for this case and future cases. But it's up to the council to.
Mhm.
And can
That's
you,
fine. Oh, go
no,
on.
I just
No.
follow-up question since I wasn't here before. Can you say more about the, the reason behind desiring a lower fence when you're front facing?
Sure. So, Montgomery County, we follow Montgomery County zoning regulations are our base zoning regulations. We can be more restrictive than Montgomery County. We cannot be less restrictive than Montgomery County. A number of years ago, a residential property on the north side of town put in a 6.5 foot fence in their front yard. The council decided to take action and to no longer allow that. It almost created like a fortress-like look. So the council passed a regulation that would require any fences located in the front plane. The definition of the front plane is basically anything in the front of the structure, from basically the front structure of the house out to where the line of demarcation is with the private property and the public right of way. So the council adopted a regulation within our code that says anything in the front plane could not be greater than 4 feet unless you were adjacent or confronting a commercial property or a state highway or mixed use.
And the county didn't always allow 6-foot
They did
fences in
not.
the
They
front.
changed
They
it
changed
through-
without our
They
knowledge.
changed it through what's called a ZTA zoning text amendment where they started allowing fences greater than 4 feet in the front plane. And that's why our resident at that time was able to put in a higher than 4 foot fence. The town came in, the council decided at that time that they wanted to maintain the prior county regulations on fencing.
The additional thing that I raised is understanding your regulations and rules. We just took out a head that's probably 8 feet tall that ran almost entirely to the driveway. So from a understanding what the regulations are, certainly you need to follow those, but from a practical change standpoint, this is actually probably a 2 foot reduction, even if we run all the way to the driveway.
And how many feet are we talking about for that distance of that section? I mean, that little front plane.
In your footage.
Oh, you want,
Yeah,
like Google Maps?
Yeah,
Drawing
Back
again.
there.
or Alex
Yeah.
does it better.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I'm trying to get.
Highlight.
Use that one,
Okay.
okay.
Oh,
No, is this all right away here?
mhm.
I mean, are you sure that his survey is
That gives
accurate?
us all members of Atlas,
Oh, yeah.
so the surveys. May not be able to figure it out.
Good, though. For mathing. Kids, math is important. Helps you determine whether or not you get fences. Zach, while he's doing that, first, welcome again to the town. Glad my first time meeting was not for variance hearing.
Yeah.
Do you want to take a moment and just express the,
Little bit
why the
more, yeah.
fence?
Yeah, absolutely. So as discussed, we have what I would describe as a very unique lot. We have essentially 3 front yards. I think from how we use and live in the house, practically, this is our front yard. This is a side yard, but it really kind of morphs into our backyard. And we have a small dog, we're planning on having kids. And while Manatee and Ferndale aren't the busiest roads in the world, there is some traffic that passes along there. So the idea is just to create kind of private space that dog can play, kid can play, things like that, in the back/side yard. So that's really the motivation for it. When we bought the house, this was always kind of the plan, was to remove the very large hedge that required trimming every 3 weeks. And convert it into something a little more sustainable, more private for us.
And do you have a view about the 4 foot tapering for that section that's still front facing?
I would prefer to move that taper as close to the driveway as I can, primarily from an aesthetic standpoint. I think if we started, understanding the reasoning for
Mhm.
kind of pinpointing that, I think if we started halfway, between the driveway and the edge of our yard, it's gonna kind of create I don't know that that's gonna look really good.
Yeah,
So I think we kind of have to commit one way or the other. Obviously, our preference would be to run the 6 foot, even if it's one fence panel short, we could start to taper on that plane down to a 4 foot on that line, and then run a 4 foot into the house. I think that would, just from a static standpoint,
Right.
I think it would look better.
yeah, I noticed at the end of almost at Fawcett and Baltimore, when the church house put in their fence, the
Mhm.
way they tapered it was much more gradual, I
Mhm.
think. It wasn't like the step down that you showed in the picture. And it definitely looks better when you do a gradual taper than when you do like a drop off.
Well, they have a big drop off too where they are.
Yeah, the bus was a unique situation. They're on Connecticut Avenue. They had to build that retaining wall. I mean, it's a little different, but it's similar in the sense that that is the
Yeah.
most recent variance we've given for our corner lots, so.
Yeah, I don't think Jessica and Dan needed a variance on theirs.
No, because they did the 4 foot.
Right.
It's not the way the design.
Yeah, no, it's very nice.
And Councilmember Licker, based on the estimates, it looks like it's about 16.7 feet that they would be requesting the variance on from 4 to 6 feet.
I mean, another fact that I'm looking at the street view of Manatee. Which I think I'm on probably 15 times a week. The houses on the opposite side of the street are elevated quite a bit. They're up on a ridge. So for the purposes of a privacy fence for the rear and side yard, it's also, it's also shielding window lines that are kind of looking right over, they would look right over a 4 foot fence.
I think that's the hedge that's no longer there.
This is the hedge that's no longer there.
I don't know
the
for a
neighbors.
fact, but my assumption is to put a hedge in to avoid, things
Right.
that come along with putting a fence.
Oh, sure.
And then I will note, one of the letters of support that we got, is one of the houses that's on Manatee that looks directly into this fence.
Mhm.
So, they are supportive of the project. We were
Yeah.
very clear with them. on it.
It's the blue house on the corner.
It's 2 over from that, it's the tan house that like. sits-
One you guys-
The blue house isn't in the.
The greenish
town.
tan house?
10,419. Okay. Yeah, it's
Okay.
easier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right, council, have any other questions? Anybody have in the audience want to talk about the fence variance? Have any questions, concerns? Alex, is there anybody raising their hand online? Okay. Right, council?
So we just at this point give a nod to having something prepared for next time, or can we approve it right now?
So if the council is looking to approve a variance, you need to give direction to staff to actually draft a resolution for approval at the next meeting. We'd also need to know why it's being approved. What is the reasoning? What is the purpose?
So I would recommend that we proceed with the variance based on the unique layout of and curvature of the 2 streets that to comprise 3 fronts for this house. And that it satisfies the 3 standards that we have to for a variance for a fence.
There's a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so council staff will draft a variance in favor due to the topography
Mhm.
of the property and due to the unique factor that it has 3 frontages.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
Right,
thank you.
thank you.
Sounds good.
So we will approve it officially at the July meeting.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's go down to number 4, the 3505 Kent Street driveway variance. Next. Variance night.
Council, the third variance before you this evening is for 3505 Kent Street.
No.
Katie and Jeremy Shepard
alcohol
have
waiver
requested a
cheap, then
variance
that's gonna be-
to allow a driveway width of 13 feet 10 inches in accordance with section 5-107 of the town code. Our code only allows 11-foot driveway widths. This project is almost complete, so this would be a retroactive permit and variance for this project. Jeremy, Mr. Shepherd is at the podium, and you received his request for the variance. Staff received letters of support for both adjacent property owners as well. There's a staff recommendation in support of the driveway.
That is a challenging driveway indeed.
Looks
I
like
have
a-
schlepped up that driveway. no
Yes.
offense.
Looks like a big improvement.
Yeah.
Do y'all want to hear sort of my reasoning, or I try to put it in, there, but whatever you would like.
Absolutely.
Okay, so hey, as Matthew kindly introduced me, I'm Jeremy Shepherd, 3505 Kent Street. I live there with my wife and 2 small boys. So, yeah, my apologies, it's built. Got some finishing
Whoops.
touches. And no, got some finishing touches that I kind of like held off on, but like it's done. So like Matt said. So like, if you guys have the packet, I just wanted to be crystal clear. So if you pull up the one with the color on it, that's being drawn by myself. That's from a boundary survey. From when I purchased it, so. I think that's something the mortgager pulls. I don't think it's guaranteed, but I think the idea will still be fine. So when I stated, you can see where it said total 14.6. Y'all see where it says that?
Yes.
Okay, so there's a wall that makes up 8 of those inches. But the driveway and the wall kind of blend together, So like the non-wall portion is 13.10. And actually that wall is not consistently, in some places that wall might be thicker because it's poured concrete. It's not all block, so it may waver, but it's not gonna, the wall's not gonna be thinner than that 8 inches that I referenced. So, and then just to further elaborate, so up top, like more towards the north side of the driveway before you get to the blue, which was existing. I mean, that's wider there, but it's not driveway really, because you can see I put in the air handler. I just drew that in, and there's a 6x6 posts holding up a quote unquote carport that actually you can't pull a full size car into. My understanding is this is hardware the previous owner had a smart car, so like,
Yeah.
It's not driveway, but like if someone went out there with a measure and said, oh, we approved you for 13.10 and this is wider there. Well, I guess my argument is like, well, that's not driveway because you can't drive on it. So just wanted to be as transparent as possible as far as like the actual construction. And I didn't really explain that very well in my write-up. So this won't give us any extra cars, but it will make it more usable. So we will be able to get more cars in, but we're not going to be parking side by side or anything. I don't know if that's one of the concerns for like aesthetics. But it will still be just tandem parking. You just be able to get out of the car a lot more easily in a sure-footed manner.
It was concrete, just stripes, wasn't it?
So it's like tire tracks.
Yeah,
Uh,
and then just
pavers.
whatever in the,
now it's still pavers.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know, in my opinion, that's like the most aesthetically pleasing. It looks nice. The previous ones were just the base wasn't done right.
mhm,
There was they only did base under those tires that you referenced.
right,
So like you got mud on the side of the base, like, and these bases are pillars, it's gonna move into the dirt over time, was just like problematic, but I know that's not really.
well, if you have unstable people who are trying to navigate on, coming up to your driveway, because that's how you get to your house.
Yeah, so that's really my argument for, I don't know what the word was, but like, hardship, I suppose. So
Right.
My father, he has like, he's had 2 foot amputations this year, and I put like his, handicap tag in there, a copy of it. So he has like currently various, mobility assistance devices. think mostly he's using a scooter. And then my mother, I mean, in all honesty, he visits, but like he's not regular every week. But you know, comes because his grandkids are there. My mother watches my kids 2 days a week. She's able-bodied for her age, but she's like 69. And it just gives like you a place to get out and get the kids out without being like Kent, because Kent's pretty busy.
Yeah.
So like, it's not ideal to get the kids out. I mean, we do make them crawl through, so we're not going around, but for my mom, it's a lot easier because like getting 2 kids out and keeping them out of the road, when you go to get the second one, it's just better to be in the driveway. So that's my, I guess, reason or my plea for why I would like it. And then I have a couple mitigating factors. One I mentioned was, that I use pavers, so they're pervious. So we shouldn't have like, not that different than what it was, but there is more coverage, so I continue to use pavers so that it wouldn't all run off into the street. It is attractive, like I said. I believe everyone that's commented on it, of course, people are nice, has said it's like it.
And you wouldn't tell us if they said,
It was rough looking before, so I mean, objectively, it's
An
more
improvement,
secure.
yeah.
Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. So then also just for that runoff, if that's a concern, like in the drawing that I, in this guy again, I hatched in the overhang, like that's not getting rained on already. So like, there's actually not that much new surface that is getting rained on. Some of it is, I see that, but not most of it. And then I guess one more like, I don't know, argument is, he'll keep cars off the street some, it's pretty tight there, like a single passage. And all the neighbors around us probably average 1 car on the street, so like having more cars on the street because the driveway is not as usable is a nuisance, and it's, I don't know, I think it's a bit of a safety issue with kids.
Well, I agree with the kids. Sometimes having cars parked slows traffic down. Some people will think that, but yeah, Kent has its challenges for sure.
Go ahead.
Jeremy, having been here before, just another thing to point out, your primary front door is
Yeah,
actually
that-
located halfway up your driveway.
Yes, sir.
I know that because I couldn't find his front door.
When you were running for election.
No, we were neighbors for 7 months.
oh, when you were living
Yeah,
there?
our
that's
backyard,
right,
the
that's
backyard's
right.
touched.
Yeah.
Brought me a bottle of
I
wine,
brought you
like
back
Yeah.
wine and said,
1 or 2.
Yeah.
Or 2
Yeah.
bottles, excuse me.
welcome to town.
Gotta
but-
replace some stuff.
To that point, I will say, one, the picture does a decent job, but it's actually fairly steep.
It's very steep.
And when there is a car in the driveway, at least in its former configuration, what you were walking on from the front door to the base, as I found out one time, was pretty slick. Because the car was on the brick treads, and so this improves the safety of this, considering this is also your front walk
Mhm.
now.
It's not really wider than it would be if you had a driveway and a sidewalk, right?
Mhm.
But like, there's no room for me to have a sidewalk.
So.
Thank you.
Does it simplify our consideration of this? Just because I appreciate there's a lot of stuff going on in the back of this driveway, but aren't we only concerned about the driveway width from the lot line to the front building line?
Technically, no. So when the council originally put in restrictions on the width of driveways, it was to stop a coverage issue. We were having problems in the town where people were basically paving their entire front yards
Okay.
to park multiple cars.
Mhm.
The council put in regulations that were unrealistic, especially in streets, very narrow streets on the town. We opened this up to allow a width up to 20 feet if you had a corresponding garage. The council has been very favorable over the years with variances for driveways to expand beyond the 11 feet, if it's reasonable, open car doors, issues, families getting in and out. So we've been pretty lenient on variances with driveways as long as they are not, basically paving your entire front yard, trying to put in a 20-foot wide driveway where there's no corresponding garage. Staff has always been favorable towards getting vehicles off the roads for maintenance purposes. You know, Kent, although a very wide street compared to most streets in the town, it is a main thoroughfare.
No sidewalks.
We also have a bus.
And the
that
bus-
goes
Yes,
through.
and the bus is there. This is a very unique lot. It was a challenge for the original builder to get a home in there. You know, there's no pushback from the staff on this. We're
Yeah, I'm supportive of it. I was just curious what your reaction was when Matt called you and said that this was not within the driveway code. And you had
You're
built
like,
it already.
what?
Yeah, well, I called my neighbor TJ like immediately because he's an architect and he actually had well, I learned that day that he had a driveway variance, so it's like, give me
Right.
a little bit of comfort. But I did have in my notes, I wanted to thank Alex because she's like really, you know, you get called in, but it was like really a pleasant experience and it just didn't feel like I was getting scolded. It was more like, well, here's like.
Wait,
what you
let's
have to
get,
do.
yeah,
and,
let's help you out here.
I slept like, or I felt a lot better leaving than I did like before I talked to her, so
Aw.
cheers to her.
Thank you, Alex.
Very good, Alex.
Yes, thank you. Alex.
scared, it was so sad.
Yeah.
Oh, he was taking that out quick,
When
but
both-
Alex, you know you're scary. Come on. Okay, well, let me open it up to the public, before we, come back and so, does anybody in, the audience have a question or concern regarding this issue? No? Do you see anybody online with a hand raised? No? Okay, thank you very much. Council, want to make a motion?
Sure, I'll do it. I move to allow a variance for 3505 Kent Street for the driveway width.
we need a reason.
Because of the peculiarities
Works for me.
of the property
For safety and.
and for safety.
Good?
I'm sorry, is this a variance that we're approving or we're giving signals to have the variance for next month?
Yeah, so what you're doing is you're motioning staff to draft.
To
a
draft a-
resolution
yeah, okay,
in
yeah.
support
Yeah, this
of
one
the
doesn't
variance.
say hearing on it, but you want a
Okay,
hearing
yeah.
on there?
Yeah,
Okay,
We'll have a hearing.
it's a hearing.
this is a hearing.
Yeah, so it's a
Okay.
motion to direct staff to draft a
Got the var-
resolution
got the-
in favor of the requested fence variance at
Okay.
35.
Driveway variance on this
Driveway,
one.
wait, sorry.
Yeah.
Driveway,
it's like-
3505 Kent.
Okay, I move to direct staff to draft the driveway variance for 3505 Kent Street because of the peculiarities of the driveway and safety purposes.
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank
Very
you.
much for
The resolution will be on the July 1st, their July 10th meeting.
Thank you very much.
You complete the driveway.
Okay,
So
You don't have to.
You can
Yeah.
complete the
Yeah.
driveway.
you can complete the driveway.
excellent. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And it does look very good.
It
Yeah,
does look
it's
nice. Okay, we'll move down to number 5.
Council, St. Paul Park, is hosting our 3rd annual Juneteenth event this coming Saturday. And we need a waiver from the council to allow, the 7 alcohol vendors within the beer garden.
Okay, any questions?
we get the, here with the 7.
You're
are.
well,
Yeah, there's 7
I
this
can't
year.
keep up.
Oh my
There's many,
goodness.
but I will
I think
add.
there's
also
that
some
many.
Non-alcoholic
Yeah.
beverage providers within the garden.
Yeah.
I think a lemonade and coffee, maybe.
Sounds right. yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Lemonade's good. I don't know, it's
But
good.
Baby Cat and a couple of other breweries and then some spirits, all local Maryland businesses,
Terrific.
Great.
Montgomery County businesses in most cases.
Oh, wow, that's good. That makes it easier to get the permits. Okay, all right, any questions? Any questions about having alcohol in St. Paul Park from the audience? All right, anybody online? Don't see anybody? Okay, so just typically, alcohol is not allowed in our parks, but we can waive that when we are having an event or something. So just so to be clarified. Okay, need a motion.
I move that we approve the alcohol waiver for St. Paul Park for this Saturday, June 15th for the 3rd annual Juneteenth celebration.
Okay, is there a second?
Do you want to include It shouldn't rain, but the rain date.
The rain date
Oh.
is June
Good idea.
16th, so it should apply. Should we have to
That
do
date
that?
as well, but it's not gonna rain,
It's not.
now that Connor mentioned it though, but. Okay, so you seconded,
I
all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, before we move on to council reports, I just want to, I wanted to give Troop 8, who's here with us tonight, a taste of local government. Did you guys enjoy it so far? About variances? Just
Sometimes,
shake your head, yeah.
sometimes we're discussing things that are not about fences and driveways.
Yeah, sometimes we do. But who's Todd? Todd, nice to meet you. So they're working on their citizenship in the Community Merit Badge. They're Troop 8 from Chevy Chase, is that correct? Where do you all meet? Oh, okay, great, great. And I believe we're meeting tomorrow, Thursday? Some of the kids, great. Okay, well, welcome and thank you for coming out tonight. And we have a few more things on the agenda. I don't know if you plan to stay, but we'll.
Before you leave, can I invite you to our Juneteenth celebration this Saturday in Kensington?
Yes,
There will
yes,
be,
there will be.
aside from that, there will be,
Any other thing?
there will be music, there will be local history groups, local civic groups, there'll be games, there'll be art, food trucks, really phenomenal music and local history. So we encourage you to come out.
Yep,
It's from 12 to 4 p.m. in St. Paul Park.
in St. Paul Park.
Information online.
Absolutely. All right, well, thank you, girls, and
Thank
see you
you.
guys tomorrow, or some of you. Great. Thank you so much.
Thanks, y'all.
Thanks, Todd. Okay. All right, so we're gonna move down to the council reports. Darren, anything you wanna bring up?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Ann?
Well, I just shared the reminder about the Juneteenth event, and you've heard the rain date is Saturday, but we hope to see a lot of people there. A lot of volunteers have been putting a lot of effort in, and we have had tremendous support from town staff as usual, so thank you. I also wanted to mention the Greenscape Committee is meeting tomorrow at 7:30. We're gonna start at Ernest Memorial Park right out here. We'll be discussing not just that park, but also some of the projects we've had underway. We had a really successful tree care 101 class for the second year in a row. And I know there's a lot of interest in how we translate some of what we've been learning about tree care to our residents through our website, through our town newsletter. So we'll be discussing that tomorrow. I think that's all I have.
And that's a question
Mhm.
for Juneteenth,
Yes.
for nearby neighbors of the park. Is St. Paul Street closed?
Yes.
Okay.
There's a
Have we been
Go
told
out.
that? They've been told that yet?
Well,
And there's one particular person I need to tell.
I can, so we were holding the letter because we were hoping to get the Pepco verification.
Okay.
As you know, we've not gotten feedback to use our lot.
Yeah.
Use it anyways. So we'll send the letter out tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just,
and are we gonna restrict Wheatley? Did we decide if we were gonna restrict Wheatley like last? Okay, so because we technically don't have the Pepco lot, we're gonna restrict some parking on Wheatley as well.
in over on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just in case, because we don't have enough parking if there was a situation, so.
Nor do we have sidewalk.
No.
Safe passage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just need to let, in case you know.
Yeah, so the formal notifications will be going out. We were holding it to get clarification from Pepco.
Perfect.
We do have approval to use parking at Spring Bilingual, so that will help a little bit with the performers at least, but obviously that would be great if they came through.
Good.
Yes.
Okay, Nate?
Oh, so I guess first is to say, so excited to be reelected, and serve with you all again. It's been quite an amazing experience, and I think it's a great council, and
I think it is.
such
I
a,
do. We've gotten a lot done.
it's an exciting time in Kensington. I think we have a lot, we still have some work to do on some challenges, but I feel honored to be serving another 2 years in this term. I did want to say that can I give the update on the bioenergy? Okay, sure. So Sustainable Kensington sponsored, I guess, a small tour of a food waste processing facility in Maryland, which is called the Bioenergy Center. What they do is they take food waste, like you would collect in a similar fashion as to composting, and they bring it to this facility in Jessup, and they process it into a couple things, renewable natural gas. So they do anaerobic digestion of the food, and they use it as a renewable source and put it into the BG&E pipeline right there that is considered as renewable energy. And
So
then
they're not doing what compost.
they're not
food does.
composting, it's anaerobic. Composting is aerobic, and this is something we're gonna talk about a little bit, I think, in Sustainable Kensington, but they also produce natural fertilizer from that with the material after it goes through the digestion process. And then they recycle the water. So it's a pretty fascinating facility, and I thought we learned a lot. And the reason we toured it was because this is the facility that we're considering working with to have, if we do a universal compost or a universal food waste collection. So I think we have some technical analysis that we want to do around.
And I don't want to interrupt, but
Yeah.
they did send me some literature on Monday that I'll pass along to you that you can give to Sustainable Kensington.
Fantastic.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so we just want to understand the savings, and then also the overall carbon footprint of the model, but it's really promising. It was really exciting. I don't know, Ann, if you wanted to say anything else about it. You weren't on.
I wasn't able
Sure.
to attend, but no, just that, grateful that we could participate and see, and we'll do some more analysis within Sustainable Kensington.
It was exciting, though. It was really cool. The pedestrian bicycling access and safety working group met on Monday, and we put out our priorities for the coming year. We are adding actually a couple of work streams because people are just really interested on one. You'll have seen, if anyone was paying attention to the listserv last week, the listserv was very populated with challenges around intersections and near misses of pedestrians and cyclists, many of them children. And we know from our analysis and the studies we've done, the troubled intersections. So one of the work streams will be to take our BIPA plan and our corridor study and really try to put it to action and really push the state and the county to start to prioritize some of these recommendations. So that's one of the work streams, but I won't go through all the other ones, but it's, I think it'll be an exciting year ahead. I had some questions for you, Matt. I'm not sure if I should bring them up when you do your part, but just some quick things that came up that I think are worth just asking. We talked about the tactical urbanism and the siting of where we would do the public street art. I think you were going to get something from Joe Coutreau about that, so we could then issue potentially a call for proposals for local artists.
So we have a very rough sketch of what we would like to do at the intersection of Metropolitan, Kensington Parkway, and Ferndale.
Right.
So they could work off of that.
Okay.
It's not detailed, it's not engineered sketch. It's
No, no,
very,
fine.
it's very baseline, but they can work off of that.
And is it enough for us to kind of issue a call for local artists to submit something?
I think it would at least provide the parameters of what we're looking at,
Okay.
to narrow that intersection down.
Yeah.
That they could get an idea of where they would need to work within.
Okay, yeah, if you could share that,
Yeah.
that'd be great, because then
Okay.
I can share with the rest of the working group. And then are we resubmitting our Safe Roads for All application?
Do you want to do it, or do you want me to? Yeah, they need to hear you.
Yeah, so we were, just for background, we had submitted a grant proposal for the Safe Roads for All Act to do a separated pedestrian bridge over Connecticut Avenue. for
Right,
safety
that was a
reasons.
federal grant.
Federal
Right.
grant.
Alex Marini, Town of Kensington.
Is this your first time coming?
It's my first
Oh,
time.
there we go.
Yeah, I'm very excited. So no, we decided not to apply. We actually worked with Fair and Peers. They were gonna help us with the application. And with their guidance, we determined that this project is not eligible based on the guidelines that are laid out by USDOT, because
Hmm.
the main reason is because the project that we're pursuing, they want it to be in the action plan that we're using. we had to use Montgomery County Vision Zero because we couldn't use our Connecticut, you can't use one specific corridor. So we couldn't use the Connecticut Avenue one that had that project in it. It's kind of strange.
Can we not use the BIPA
So what we're gonna do,
plan?
so
Okay.
what we're gonna do is, what we told Fair and Pairs, because we got a price from them basically to help us guide us through. And what we decided is we were gonna step back this year.
Uh-huh.
Go to Montgomery County Department of Transportation, ask them to put this project specifically into their Vision Zero plan.
Okay.
As a supplemental program, or project, I'm sorry. Then reapply for SS4A funding in 2026.
Okay.
There was, we really ran out of options. I mean, we met with
Mhm.
the state. And the representative from US DOT,
Mhm.
who's,
And we got conflicting feedback
Yeah.
about why we were not
Huh,
granted,
okay.
why we were not given the grant.
Okay. And
So,
In terms of eligibility or competitiveness?
yeah, so we
Couldn't
were
tell.
told that we didn't receive the grant because we should have applied. Last year we were directed to apply for the action plan. There's two types, the action plan and then the implementation.
Right.
We applied for an action plan per the guidance from National League of Cities. Then US DOT told us that we should have applied for the implementation grant. So we started working on the implementation grant application this year. And then when I read, it's like a 40-page, what's it called? NOFA. And when I started reading the guidance, our project didn't fit. And we asked Fair and Peers and they pretty much said it would be a waste of time to apply. You know, I think we're
mainly because we
eligible.
did not have this standalone plan that identified it, but the BIPA does, the BIPA plan.
they
will.
won't accept it.
No, why?
There's,
They,
go ahead.
I'm sorry.
It's a
No, you
state
go ahead.
endorsed plan for the whole town.
There's a lot of strict
Okay,
guidance about what qualifies as an action plan. It has to meet a lot of criteria.
Can you send those to me?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll look at them and then
absolutely.
just, okay, I'm sure you
Yeah.
did, but it's just,
As Alex said, we received a lot of conflicting information,
Okay.
including
Mhm.
from US DOT, which was unfortunate. We were guided in the wrong direction,
all right.
but I don't think it would have mattered because we would have never received it anyways.
It's good you
Based
didn't
on-
put the,
Yeah.
the whole thing together then.
But like I said, we're gonna try to regroup. We're gonna go to MCDOT, see if we can get the project as supplemental within Vision Zero and then reapply in 2026 for the
Okay.
SS for funding and see what happens. So
Fantastic. Well, but it's good to know that we'll still be applying.
Okay, thank you.
That's it.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you so much, Alex. Congratulations on your first on the podium. That's all for me. Thank
That's
you.
it? Okay, Connor?
Big one is, I mentioned it at last month, but now formally, we've received a letter from Department of Natural Resources that St. Paul Park, the playground expansion, ADA resurfacing was approved in the state legislature. That amount pending is for $177,801. So what happens next is our project plan and amounts will go to the state clearinghouse. They will review it and do intergovernmental review. Assuming that it passes there, I would hope and imagine it would. It then goes to the Board of Public Works.
Well, it's
For
in
their-
July, I think.
Yeah, for one of their meetings. Yeah, it looks like July is the next one.
Mm.
And then, once approved there, we would be notified and then that would set the start date of the project.
And we get reimbursed, is that
And it's
correct?
reimbursable, correct. So we cannot submit for reimbursement until it is approved by the Board of Public Works. So,
Expectation,
so
on,
with receipt of this, and with the expectation that it'll make its way to the Board of Public Works and foreseeably pass at the Board of Public Works, was to reach back out to Jeff Stone and,
this is at playground, right?
yep, that
playground specialists.
Mhm.
playground specialist, who was one of the vendors who helped kind of draft and put together all the different components to come up with a budget, to request another onsite now that we have this, to really set what the apparati are that we would want incorporated, finalize that plan and put together a project plan for construction so that when we know, I don't know what their backlog is, but we have an idea of when the park would need to be kind of unavailable. We can notify the two schools that have MOUs to use it. But also then we just need to finalize one last question of the usability of the funds toward the ground cover. Which we may need to reach out to a District 18 delegation for.
Okay. Do you think, I know it always seems to take forever to get the playground equipment, so are we looking at next spring? Possibly?
Yeah, I mean, that's part of getting with Jeff is to say, like, what is he seeing as far as ordering
Right,
timelines?
okay,
Yep.
and installation and
Yep.
everything, okay. You know, if it's a easy winter, maybe it won't be quite so,
Mm.
yeah, they could start then.
Is it fully designed already?
It is, I'd say what, like, 9, yeah, is it
Yeah.
fully? Okay, I mean. He went out, walked the whole thing, surveyed the whole thing, measured the whole thing. Filled it in, because you pretty much have to show them exactly what you're gonna do. We selected numerous different play pieces to infill the connection part. And presuming that there hasn't been a change of heart toward any of those, and it, it's just having them put together the project plan.
Perhaps at a future town meeting, we can bring this up, put it on the agenda so people know that it's,
Yep.
And show what it'll look like?
yeah,
Yeah.
Yes, at the budget meeting,
Mhm.
we had the concept plans up.
right,
So it'd be great to be able to bring those in and show all those schematics.
yeah, good, okay,
So.
great. All right, just a couple of things here on my end, just a reminder to the council, that our next meeting, we'll have a, July 10th meeting, we'll have an organizational meeting at 6 o'clock. So be prepared to come in at 6. And then the town council meeting will start at 7. Last year, we did set up a meeting with the District 18 group, I believe, on that same evening. It was a little bit tough. It went boom, boom, boom. But I'd like to see us try to, maybe not on that night, but to have District 18 invite them over for a separate meeting. So they get kind of busy in September. They have not set yet when they will do the bill dropping for Montgomery County bills, but that will be scheduled sometime in September. So it'd be nice to meet with them before then, because I think we are gonna wanna go and talk to them about having a bill, a design bill for the Public Works Building, seeking some funding for that. So we'll definitely want to have that on our list of things that we'd like them to seek some funding for. I haven't gotten, I'm working with Carrie Ann, our next journal will be, it's actually the September issue. It will be in everybody's mailboxes before Labor Day, but I'll get you the deadlines, hopefully this week. Also, I was on a call with, the other municipalities. You should have been on the email from Irene, from Town of Chevy Chase regarding, the technical amendment that they've been trying to do with District 18. I attended that meeting, and I think we've working with Jared and the other District 18 delegation, that we might be able to put some language together to drop. What we're trying to do is drop single family from in R60, so that we it's clear that the municipalities still have some control over the setbacks. I mean, we don't have a lot of control because we don't have zoning, but we want to still maintain that control. So they're just trying to drop the word single family and just have it residential.
Mhm.
So they will be they're working on that language, and they hope that they'll get a draft to us, and that we can approve it at our September meeting. So then the delegation can take it to do it a local bill. So that's there. Is everybody up on that?
Yeah,
discussion
this
that
is the
we've
bill
had?
that they tried to push forward as an emergency bill
Yeah,
last
and that
session,
wasn't gonna
but
pass.
yeah.
Um,
And the hiccup is just as the zoning changes to allow multi-unit, whether or not it was clear that our setback and other regulations.
Are more
apply.
restrictive.
Yeah,
What little control we have, that we still have it, even if it's a multifamily. So do you
Yep.
want a duplex to still have to have a 10-foot setback? Or do we have to follow the counties, which is a 5, or what is it, 8?
Eight.
They're
8 and 5, right? They're 8. Yes, we're 10, they're 8. So, do we still have that control? And I don't think we want to,
You did it.
yeah.
yeah.
I think I
Yeah.
thought it was,
And actually, the amendment they talked about was that we could allow them to do it if we wanted
Sure.
to. If it made sense.
Right.
would it be just through a variance process then?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Which I think is what
Right.
we do with any structure.
right.
Yeah.
So,
Tonight is any evidence.
yeah,
Variance palooza.
well, if it's sitting on, next to Connecticut Avenue or Pliers Mill, then
Mhm.
there would make no reason why we'd have to do a 10-foot setback. We could do the, 8 or something. So, anyway. Okay, let's see, was there anything else? I think that's it.
Was it July 13th?
The July Bike Parade, yes, 4th of July Bike Parade. We're looking for little lights, Matt, they should be coming in soon, Matt, Alex and
Okay.
Susan, we should be getting a box.
Okay.
With our bicycle lights that we'll be
With the
passing out.
PBAS logo on
Yeah.
it. Pretty cool.
Oh,
We had a cooler one, but they
Well,
were out of stock. No, this is a good
Focus on
one
the
too.
positive.
This is a good one.
Yeah,
This is a good.
It'll be good.
No, it's good.
We'll hand them out.
So, yeah,
Thank
who plans on being the 4th of July Bike Parade?
I
You
will be
won't.
out of town.
You're out of town.
I'm out of town.
You, me, Aaron? Okay, so Connor and I will pass them out.
There you go.
Do you have some PBAS people around that
Yeah,
can
yeah, we
help?
could ask. We got
Okay,
two
see if
of
you can get some PBAS people there. They can wear their
them.
t-shirts.
Call for help.
Okay, good. On the call, when I was on the call with the other municipalities, we were talking about the possibility of bringing this document to approve in August, and everybody's like, oh, we don't have August meetings. No, we take recess.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, well, how come we don't do it in August recess?
We usually have a lot of variances too.
Well, we've already done that.
Cleared the docket.
So I did ask Matt about that, and he said, yeah, we could take an August recess. I don't know what everybody's travel schedule is.
Well, we can
You could do remote if
do
need
this
be,
at the
but
organizational meeting and see.
We can discuss it then. So if everybody comes with their, travel schedule for August. But, because I know, you talked about possibly changing the dates for September and October. I would be concerned about changing the date for August, September, October, if we had some, traveling.
So right now it would be August 14th.
Yeah, I mean, it's smack dab in the,
I'm gonna be smack dab in the middle of the
Wisconsin.
the Austrian Alps.
yeah, so, it's things like that. You
Yep.
don't want to mess up people's vacations, so.
And alternately, we could perhaps, if we did not do that, still meet with the delegation
Mhm.
in August.
Yes, we
like
could do a delegation meeting instead. Yeah, if they're
That's
around,
good.
do it early, not when
Mhm.
Connor's in the Alps, so. So bring your vacation schedule with you to the July meeting and we'll talk about. it.
Great.
Okay. All right, I think that's it. It is past 8 o'clock. I promised to do public appearances around 8, so I'm going to move that forward. If there's anyone here who would like to speak on anything that's not on the agenda, this is your opportunity to bring it up. Anybody in the audience or online? Not seeing hands. Okay, all right, we will move on. All right, from the town manager.
Before I start with number 1, I do just want to say, the intersection improvement at Armory and Howard Avenue, Councilmember Engel, is scheduled to begin as early as tomorrow morning.
Guys.
We-
Sorry, repeat, which,
So this is the intersection improvement at Armory and Howard Avenue.
In front of the clock shop.
In front of
Yeah.
the clock shop.
oh, this.
Yeah,
got it.
so we had
As early as
previously had an
tomorrow.
issue, yeah, as
Wow.
early as tomorrow.
That's great.
So we had previously got a recommendation from PBAS to reduce the turning radius there.
Yeah,
We had some issues with a Pepco utility vault. We didn't think we were gonna be able to do it. Our traffic engineer, Joe Kutro, came in, was able to kind of figure out the turning radii. We have it chalked out. And Jack's team is on call. So as soon as they're done with their project they're working on, they're gonna come over and do the saw cutting there and
fantastic.
clean that up. So
Kudos to you and the, I guess it was the consultant or whoever it is, the NZI.
NZI, yeah.
For the bushes on Dietrich and Knowles, by the way.
So
I know. you
I
can
don't know
see.
how much I can
Oh,
say.
You can see,
So it took me 15 years.
no, it's absolutely.
We had the
just-
cooperation of the
Of
residents.
the property owner, it is private property. The sidewalk is actually an easement on the private property.
Yeah.
We had Ed Mulharen, who is our tree contractor, come in, remove the vegetation and the tree roots, and our public works crew put down sod. That was the agreement we had with them if they'd allow us to open up the sightlines. We offered to plant trees. They decided to turn down the trees, so we planted sod in its place.
Yeah, and extended it fixed the slope because it was a pretty
Re-
drastic
regraded
drop
it,
off.
yes.
Yeah, you
Yep.
regraded it. Thank you. That's
Yeah.
great.
So.
No, it looks really nice.
Yeah. So back to number one, the town has been receiving, a number of complaints, in various locations around the town about parking, specifically related, on the weekends and the evenings to a specific business. We are gonna discuss putting together a task force at our organizational meeting in July to help address some of those concerns. I know Councilmember Crimmins has already reached out to at least a couple of the residents that have, inquired to us. You know, we'll see what we can to address them. I mean, we've even received some feedback on Fawcett Street, specifically on the weekends. We're looking to address that. Obviously Kensington Parkway, and Wheatley and St. Paul Street on the north side. So we've got some areas. It's as former council member Mackie Birch told me, it's growing pains for us. Our commercial district is growing, and we kind of need to figure out some solutions. So.
Well, and we have to really look to the future on the things and start addressing, like, you know, the parking lot at the M&T is a good example of that.
Yeah.
The other part too, task force seems like a very strong words. But it would be, you know, to kind of walk the whole area and look at the parking, which we already control, right? Strategies for getting access to other parking, either acquiring it or formally talking to property owners to see if they are willing to allow their parking, even if it's just evenings and weekends, which is when a lot of this is happening. That would then, as we formalize those relationships, we can look to properly sign it and create maps for the businesses so that they're actually directing people to the appropriate places. But then also looking at things like our street parking and the street parking regulations, the signage of restrictions. Are they appropriate for how long they are and where they are controlled? And should some of them be changed for the duration or converted over to by permit only in areas that are more residential? And longer term, begin thinking about whether or not any sort of parking management system in the future, you know, may be helpful.
Well, we've been somewhat, because, you know, people are slow to get back on the train.
Mhm.
There, you know, that's helped a lot in the parking areas. But now that it's picking up, particularly with the red line
It's
being
changed quite a bit.
closed.
Yeah.
You know, are we, you know, it's going to, especially on the other side, on the north side, which Modena is filling up quite a bit.
All
So-
9 trains are now stopping in Kensington,
I was gonna say, have we noticed?
Yeah.
which has benefited your town manager quite well.
Mhm.
And John Morris, who's, as everyone knows, the train station, we averaged over 140 passengers last year. I'm sorry, last week.
So
We
that was a jump
had
from,
quite a bit.
Quite a
So
bit.
our best days are typically Tuesday, where we're getting about 100. Pre-COVID, we were between 2 and 225. You know, we really haven't seen those types of numbers for 4 years. We're definitely seeing it at both the Kensington train lot, the Metropolitan lot. We're even seeing it in some other areas with some parking. Obviously, the red line, you know, at least through the summer is going to add to that.
Right.
And I'll say for the last year, we run our carpool by meeting at the north side lot of the Mark station. And to your point, Tracy, Modena's staff, but also the vet's office that's in the
Mhm.
Laura Day Center. The north side lot is by 8 AM is pretty much full, almost entirely by employees of those two businesses. Which on the north side just means Kensington Parkway and parts of Wheatley and other places, there's bleed over parking, which I know Annie's doing her best, but like, we have one parking enforcement officer.
Well, we people getting warning freaks people out and they're very upset.
So one thing, maybe we'll talk about this more at the organizing meeting, but I think it's great that we're doing this task force. And I think everything you outlined, Connor, sounds like a really smart approach. The one thing I would put out there is we may want to enlist a consulting firm to help us understand what are other methods that other municipalities with similar characteristics have used and what's worked, what hasn't worked. Because I think there's a lot of experimentation going on around the country now. So
Are you talking about like
out
with
there.
paid parking or just?
All kinds of
Okay.
approaches to parking challenges? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, my hope, what I'd love to get from a consultant, things I don't know is there's signage and mapping and things that can direct people to parking. Because what happens is I think human nature is people drive to
Yeah.
Johnson Shopping Center, trying to get as close to the particular
Right.
business they're trying to get to. They realize it's full, and then they move out. I wouldn't even call it consent. They just move to the closest thing they can find, which sometimes is blocked driveway aprons and it's blocked pathways and because they just look for the first and closest.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, I think this is a good step forward.
Mhm.
It's, unfortunately gonna take a little time.
Mhm.
Carmen's Ice Cream or Carmen's Ice is gonna open up probably more towards the fall. I think there was asbestos on the flooring that had to be removed, so that's gonna hold it up just a little bit. I know. Hopefully they'll be opening in the fall, but that will bring even more people,
Mhm.
into that area. So, I know, so it's a challenge, absolutely. Okay, anything else?
No, on that last,
Oh.
the only thing I
Uh-huh.
talked to Mr. Levy, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
what I asked of him specifically, right? Because I gave him this long-term idea of a task force. But I asked that he and his immediate neighbors talk and bring forward a recommendation for that block of Kensington Parkway from the Johnson Shopping Center down to Kent. Of what it is now signed as far as restrictions and any recommendations that they would like to, request.
Yeah, I think the restrictions came about because there was a lot of people from Mark that was
Yeah.
parking there.
Yeah.
That's what started that. Cause I think before it was just, I don't think it had anything.
It was directed at Mark Passenger.
Yeah.
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 And now, now it goes later into the evening for the baby cat.
Yep, and we can, so, I will follow up with Ken again to just say, hey, if you have that recommendation ready for the July meeting, that would be great. We can kind of start with that and then move out now in the town.
Okay, great, thank you. All right,
Thanks.
not anything else?
That's it. If you're ready, we can go down to.
Okay,
the
yep,
ones.
ordinance, resolutions and
Uh,
regulations.
Council, as we mentioned, we revised the agenda this evening. We did get sent out to the public to include resolution number resolution R-12-2024. There's a resolution of the mayor and council of the town of Kensington authorizing the town manager to award a contract to survey services to evaluate the existing storm drain inlets, pipe inverts, and underground utilities in coordination with the St. Paul Street and Farragut Avenue storm drain projects. We met under a special meeting in May to approve an addendum to the existing Brutus and Associates hydraulic survey for the storm drain network. We mentioned that we were going to need to do an additional survey. We have received the primary proposal. We are waiting on 2 additional proposals, and instead of trying to hold another special meeting and waiting until the July meeting, we are requesting that the council approve the expenditure of up to $30,000 that will allow the staff to evaluate at least 3 proposals that we'll be receiving and to issue it based on the reasonableness of their proposal and also upon final approval by the town attorney. So.
Okay, any questions?
I know it's specific language you worked out with the town attorney, but what does lowest responsible proposal mean?
That meets the requirements of Brutus and Associates, so they, within the limits of the work, they have very specific details of what they need, based on the surveys of the surface and underground utilities, the trees, the driveway aprons. Part of the survey includes a private property lot, although there is an easement on it. So as long as they meet the requirements specific to Brutus, that they won't need to go back and ask for contingency funds based on what they submitted. We will accept the lowest bid as reasonable and acceptable for Brutus to move forward with the hydro evaluation. This is time sensitive. That's why we actually reached out to the town attorney to ask if we could do this evening, as opposed to doing a special meeting or waiting until July. Arun, who is our hydro engineer, and Brutus and Associates are waiting for this survey. It's kind of on hold until they get this. Just a little bit of background. We've had some issues getting proposals. We had an initial proposal. We wanted at least another proposal. We reached out to a subcontractor of Brutus Associates. They were not able to provide us a proposal. We were able to get in contact with a engineering firm that we have a relationship with. This is not something they typically do, but they are able to do it, so they're going to provide us a proposal by Friday. And Councilmember Crimmins was able to get in touch with an additional firm affiliated with the state of Maryland that is also supposed to get us a proposal by Friday. So we hope to have a contract awarded Friday or Monday at the latest. So.
Any other questions? Or any? No? Okay, any questions from the audience? Questions online? Don't see any hands. Okay, somebody want to make a motion?
Move that we adopt resolution number R-20-2024 to allow the town manager to exercise up to $30,000 towards this effort as discussed.
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. There's nothing on the second, that's very good. Okay, well, as we've said, our next meeting will be July 10th. It will be in person, as we are having the organizational meeting. And we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Everybody.
Okay.